All right, guys. Welcome to day 3 of the Wealth Abundance Week. So, I was just talking a little bit with Patrick here and about the energetics and the attraction and letting go of that mindset that, you know, when we're so focused and honed in on the money, how it's essentially a trap. It's like a programming from the society, which keeps us in control. It keeps us spinning. So this is why this week is so important because we're talking about the energetics behind all this. When you're living in a state where you don't have the money, when you don't, like you need this, you need that, you don't have enough, it's a scarcity mindset. And when you're sitting in that scarcity mindset, there's a lot of contraction there. So you're basically crumbling in, like you're not going to be able to focus on the things that are showing themselves to you, the messages that you're receiving from the universe, the different doors and windows that are opening when you're in this foveal view and you're solely focused on what you don't have. So that's why when we start to change our mindset on what money is, it is not, you know, I want to, there's a need behind survival, which comes from your subconscious mind. That's your inner child, especially it wants to feel safe. And when you're not meeting, it feels like you're not meeting its needs, or you feel like that there's something that it didn't get. You're going to run into this cycle, this pattern of, I don't feel safe. I need this. I don't have this. It even goes down to like love and affection. I need this. I don't have this. I want to feel safe. So you're running in this cycle. You are grasping at straws. It can feel very chaotic. You're feeling like you're in this kind of like fight or flight response, constantly burnt out. Your nervous system is shot. So, this is why it's important to change the way we're thinking about this. Money is energy. Like, money, like, if you think about it, like, really think about this, money essentially doesn't exist. Like it's something that we are using in an exchange, but it could be the same thing as a carrot or like a you know piece of steel, or however you want to think about this. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't make, like, it's not food, it's not water, it's not something that you actually need for basic survival of your human body, right? So, yeah, so moving back to trade, we were just speaking about this a little bit before I actually started the recording of the call. Trading, trading energy, trading time, trading, you know, uh, your your skills. What do we need money for, right? So when we start to think about this and we start to think about going back to our stories around the money, where did those come from? Like, we did not come out of the womb needing money, did we? We learned this. We learned that money was something that we needed, that we had to have a certain amount in order to survive. Like, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they have it in their mindset that 10,000 a month is where I will be comfortable. 100,000 a year is when I know I fully made it. But why is that? Why, like, none of us have that pre-programmed into us from birth. That was something that came with society. That was something that was learned. So we're going to go back and talk about our money story. So our money story, Like, what was the story that your parents had around money? Was it money doesn't grow on trees? Was it that money is the root of all evil? These are some of the things that I was fed when I was a kid. That people that had money were assholes. They were evil. That they, controlled people. And you don't want to be looked at as controlling, or you don't want to be looked at as an asshole, or that the people that have money are what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they're only looking out for themselves. They don't care about who they have to step on to get up there. So where did that come? Like, what's your money story? If y'all want to drop some in the chat, like what was the money stories that you heard growing up from your parents? Like, me personally, I came from like a pretty middle class family. Like, we had enough for the necessities, but we couldn't splurge on things. We had to be very mindful of what we were spending our money on. Like, I especially like when you get to like middle school, high school, when you're very aware of what brand name you're wearing, or if you have like, we started to get into cell phones. Like, if we had the cell phone with our personal line, and if we had the little blinky the Nokias with the blinky antenna, like, that meant status. So my parents, they didn't buy me the Adidas or the Nike or anything like that. I got the generic stuff. So there was a very big ego thing for me. My inner ego was telling me that I'm not good enough because I don't have the same things that the other kids have. Yeah. So broke, needed to be in a survival mentality, that it's a fool who lets a sucker keep his money. That's a good one. Yeah. So you start to see some of the stories that come into play that are implanted in your subconscious mind. Where were you fed things that ultimately became your money story now? Like, I also come from, and especially being like kind of in like the spiritual or like holistic background now, there's also a kind of a message with that, is that you should be more giving of yourself, that you asking for money is dirty. So how many of you don't charge your clients for what you're worth? Yeah. So when you're starting to get into business, yeah, and you're wanting to live in an abundance, but you feel like it's dirty to ask for what you're worth, it's dirty to charge for your services, there's a big conflict that goes on in your mind there. Your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, they're not on the same page, they're not congruent. So when we're not living on the same page, your subconscious mind sabotages. So you might have like a little upswing, you're kind of going good, things are awesome, and then all of a sudden you deep dive. So you have this big sabotage. Like, maybe it can show up like, I was showing up, I was doing all the things, and then all of a sudden, like, I fell off, I stopped showing up. Or maybe I'm putting out that energy that I don't want clients. Who's the one controlling your thoughts? So your thoughts are primarily your subconscious beliefs. So when you're driving your mind, you think you're in control, you're only in control of 5% of your thoughts and actions. Your conscious mind, or your subconscious mind, is pretty much the driver behind like a lot of thoughts, behaviors, actions, beliefs, memories, even the way that you feel in your body. Yeah. So when you're putting in your conscious goals, and your subconscious isn't on board, sabotage, or like constantly feeds you're not good enough, or you're not worthy of this, or whatever the story is behind it. But if you're only working in the subconscious mind, your conscious mind does not believe that you're releasing the things that you're actually releasing, or it doesn't believe, isn't aware of, then you reinstall that programming. That's why you continue to go into these cycles, these patterns. You run down the same thing over and over and over, and then you're like, why do I keep going down this same path? So Patrick, I'm going to challenge you on that. Just do it anyways. So a lot of coaches out there, they talk about going outside of your comfort zone. You got to get outside your comfort zone in order to reap the rewards that if you're very contracted and you don't want to do public speaking, you don't want to get on stage and do your big talk, what's going to happen? If your subconscious mind is not on board with that, if your subconscious mind thinks that it's very unsafe and scary, you're going to go up to that talk feeling like you're going to vomit. You're going to trip over your words. You're going to forget completely what you were saying. Right? So that's why it's important to really come back to these root causes and come back to these subconscious beliefs, come back to these emotions from a past experience that told you this wasn't safe, and start to release it. And when you start to release it, that comfort zone, it actually starts to grow. So you're growing your comfort zone little by little. And when you stay in your comfort zone, but your comfort zone is growing, then you start to expand. Then you start to be okay with it. So it's kind of like me personally, when I first started out, I was that contracted person. I didn't even want to speak. I would stutter when I would speak to people, especially like if it was more than one person. Like I would just start to trip over my words, and then I'm like, you know what, it's safer to not even speak. So I just stay in the background, not say anything. So when I started to expand my comfort zone, little by little, we started to release some of those beliefs. We started to release some of the emotions behind it. Started to do smaller group, or small groups that started to grow into bigger groups. We got, I was doing lives. So it's expanding that comfort zone little by little, so that now it's not as uncomfortable. It's not outside of that comfort zone anymore for me. It's safe to be able to speak, to be able to be heard, to feel like I have a voice. Go for it. Yeah, come on.
All right. You asked me the question like I was gonna talk, and I'm like, do you want me to say anything, or you're like, I want to ask you. So I'm like, I know this is yours. I don't want to, come into or whatever. But so the universe rewards the brave. The whole insight with that, the idea is that, and I said, just do it anyways. It's like, because the mind will tell you exactly that. Oh, I'm gonna sound funny. I'm not gonna remember any what I'm saying, dude. There's like 100 people out there, and then it creates the biggest block and it puts you in a trap, and then you're like, and then because you're back in your beliefs of this, it's painful or whatever. Like, it's so the universe rewards the brave, as in when you just do it and you actually just do it anyways, then through that consistency of doing it, the repetition will create the identity. So essentially, like, I like to put it in simple minded terms. Like, it's like riding the bike as a kid. You're never going to be able to ride that bike, no matter how scared you are on my freaking arm. You're never going to learn how until you're actually brave enough to step up there and actually start pedaling and ride it, And then how are you going to be able to, like, go do a 360 or do a backflip? How are you going to learn that stuff? Like, well, you're going to have to be consistent. Like, keep trying over and over again. Train your body, your mind and body, your system. And then nowadays you can probably ride a bike, talk on a phone, eat something, and like you don't even think about any of that. Like, so it's just what I'm saying with it is just like when we see, hold on a second here, when we like here's another good one that I somebody else came up with this one, but let thy triggers be thy guides. It's a great one. It's like, so when we see, so what that means is let thy triggers be that guide. So when you get triggered and you see, people or whatever, whatever it is, emotional, that's what it is, emotional, because of a belief, a thought created emotions, and then whoop, and now you're so so it just so what was I saying there was that, so energy flows where attention goes, and whatever you focus upon, that's where the energy goes. So if you have a belief of something, and you keep focusing on, like, I need to work on this belief, I keep focusing on this belief, I need to work on it, like, all you're doing is you're growing that belief, and you're making it stronger within you, because you keep thinking that you need to work on it, and all your energy does is just create it stronger. And then, like, maybe like now you're creating new ways so that it can control you differently, and make you more scared about this now and stuff. So it's like, it's really just letting it go and stepping out and being bold and brave, and just being like, you know what, I'm gonna go ride this bike anyways, and eventually you figure it out. So it's like,
yes, and so when you are, let's relate the bike story.
Okay.
So when you are learning to ride a bike, you're not getting on the bike and immediately doing backflips.
No.
You are building up.
Right.
So you're doing the little pedals, you're balancing, you're making sure you don't fall over. You try a turn once, and then you're like, okay, I'm getting this. These are little incremental steps. So when you go from, I can't speak in front of people, to I'm going to speak on stage to 100 people, that's like going from not knowing how to ride the bike to doing backflips, especially in your subconscious.
That's only your perspective. It's only your perspective.
Different perspective, yes. However, for instance, when I was in a sales company, so I had to speak to big groups of people, and I was in that very contracted mindset. So I had my little piece of paper on my podium, and I'm up there going, so that's further instilling the belief inside of me that it's that evidence that I'm not good enough. I can't get up here and speak.
Well, that's your belief then there, because that's all your mind. If you believe that,
subconscious. So you have to go back to that original belief and release it. Because if you go from 0 to 100 immediately, and you're not in that safety behind it, then it's going to feel more contracted.
And that's why I say, let thy triggers be thy guides. Sure. So if I were to go in front of one person, because clearly if that's the case, then one person's going to do that to you, not 100. So one person's going to make me scared. Of course, I'm not going to go to 100 people. So again, let that triggers be the guides. Okay, so why am I like that? I'm like that. And then you can look back to my beliefs in my childhood, whatever. Okay, what? And then like you just basically, the only way to move out of that, though, the only way is to let it go, completely let it go. If you're out of your mind, let it go. and just start doing what you think you can't. And then when you do that, like, yeah, I might be nervous and scared at first, of course, because it's unknown. But then, like, you expand your comfort zone, like you said, and then you're like, oh, here I was afraid to talk. You're
Sure.
like, what? So yeah,
But
it's
that's yeah, you're slowly incrementally changing that comfort zone. And that's also why it's important to go back to your belief system. Like, where did that come from? What was that original story that you had back there?
for sure. You want to solve that first
Yes.
before, like, solve that first, so you're not like just, oh, I want to do it anyways. Well, then you're basically broken your lower chakra system, or your roots, your survival system, and you're trying to do something mentally that is far above what you're trying to do, and you're gonna create a trap, which I've seen many people, they create spiritual traps, which is like a trap of, like, their mind had a little awakening, we'll say awakening, oh, touch of God, touch of goodness, and they're like, oh, and then they're like, but they're broken still, and then they're like, oh, I can control, I can do that, I can do that, whatever, like, and it's like, no, bro, like, that's if you need to let that go. And anyways, uh,
Yeah. So that's yeah, that's part of what is important to the subconscious, because that it knows, even if you're not comfortable in the situation that you're at right now, its primary concern is keeping you safe, keeping you comfortable. And it knows from up until this point, you've been able to survive like this. You've been able to have, you know, a life. You've been able to continue on. You've been able to have food and, water and whatever. So like the body is still going on in this story that it's created from past to now. So when you start to step outside to new things that you are unknown to the subconscious, that's where you get that kind of contraction. And that's where, of course, there's a doorbell in the middle of this. Thank you. So that's where it starts to, where you can see, like, if you're starting a new business and you've never started a new business before, where that contraction can come from, where you start to sabotage, or things don't work out. You're looking at different things in different ways that seem scary to it. So when we think about our story that comes from the past, then you want to try to expand and look at your community's money story. What's the story that in the neighborhood that you lived in? Was money abundant or was it scarce? And then you start to look at, what's your money story when you first started making money? Like, first money coming in for me was like a babysitting job. I thought like $20 was like the greatest thing on earth, because I'm like, ooh, I can go get like some candy and some like snacks and like whatever and spend all this money on junk. But it's like, as soon as I got that money, I had to get rid of it, because I was in that story that you're not to live abundantly, that it's actually, it looks better on you as a person to not be this like big showy, like egotistical, um you know person with money, person that's an asshole, that steps on other people to get what you want, right? So it's like I was putting myself in this box of safety, because I didn't want to be looked, looking like one of those people. And that started a cycle that as soon as I got money, I had to get rid of it, because I have to stay in the middle class. I have to stay right in the middle. I don't want to be too down low, too up high. So this cycles throughout your life, this story that you've been, you know, programmed to believe. So what we're going to do for the challenge today. And I was considering kind of like tinkering in the values, like what you value. But we're also going to talk about movement. So when we talk about like the energetics of movement, it's a concept about money that helps you create. So yesterday we stopped the outflow of money. We turned off some of those subscriptions that we don't use. We're looking at maybe things that have been going on in the background in our bank accounts that we're not really aware of. And we're bringing awareness to that. So we're stopping the outflow. So in this part of it, we're going to start the money flowing in. So I want you, find some things that you don't use anymore, like that are just sitting around the house that you can put up for sale. And this could be like Facebook Marketplace, or this could be on, like we have Craigslist here. These are like community boards. Some things that have been sitting in your house or room for a while that's no longer energetically serving you. So when I talk about energetically serving you, every material thing that you have has a dharma behind it. So dharma is essentially you're thinking about its life cycle. So when you have things in that you wanted to go buy and you were like, "Ooh, this thing is really awesome. Like it's so pretty. I love it. Like I really want this thing." And you get it. And you enjoy it maybe for like a few weeks. Like you could like say you bought a blender, right? Like this super fancy, awesome blender that you really wanted to use. You wanted to make salsas and margaritas, and like you had all these plans for it. And it's really fun and exciting and new for like that first week or two. And then it goes in the back of the cupboard or wherever you keep your blender, like on the kitchen countertop, and you forget about it. So its dharma with you, its purpose, its life cycle was those first 2 weeks. And then after that, it's just sitting there. It's not doing you any good. It's taking up space. So it's time for its dharma to serve somebody else. So put the blender up on the sale page. It doesn't have to be, the full amount that it's worth. It could be $5, but it's creating that flow of money, that energy back into you. So what are some things that you can think about that you could put up? Like, could it be some old shoes, some clothes that you haven't worn in like 10 years? Like, is it maybe something that you made that's really cool and you always wanted to sell it? I know, Mike, you have your farmers market that you go out to every weekend, and you have a bunch of things that you sell there. So you have a really good way of energetically giving somebody else that dharma. And I love how you do like the spices and stuff. So that's stuff that's abundant for you, the materials that you make. Yeah, so your art. So are you not going to the farmers market as much with the band stuff, or okay. So yeah, who is it that wants for a little bit and looks for the next thing soon after? Yeah. So, that's you're not in charge of the dharma life cycle past you. but you are giving to somebody else. You're allowing somebody else to live, for it to live its dharma cycle with them. And then what they do with it past that, it's up to them. Yeah. You give your time. Yeah. So you're giving your time, but I want you to think about so it's still like it's a trade. You're trading your time for tips or money coming in from that open mic. So there's still a energetic flow with that. So I want you to think about some things around your house that you might be able to create that flow with, some things you can put up. And then I'm going to do a short exercise. I was going to go into this a little bit more, but we're going to talk about values. So if y'all do either of y'all have a piece of paper that you can write things down on? I'll give you a few. Cool. Yeah. Ego always wants and always needs. So, and then that also comes back to your subconscious too, because your subconscious always wants more. And that's you got lots of drawings. You always it's conditioned into us to always want more. So even when we are getting like the things that we set out to do, our goals, are we actually appreciating it? Or does it get forgotten about, like all the things that we've achieved? All the things that we've done up until now, right? Are we celebrating? Expressing gratitude? I'm sure you are, Patrick. So, what we're going to do is we're going to write down one word answers, as many as you can. I'll give you a few minutes to do this, but one word answers for what money is to you. And this could be like, I want you to write 10 to 15 things down if you can, just about it. And I don't want to give you too many examples because I don't want to feed you answers. But like money is, it could be, we were talking about energy. Money is energy. It's this, it's that. It means I get to do this, or whatever. So just start to write some things down for that. And not sentences, just one word answers, as many as you can. And when you think you're done, write some more. All right. Y'all getting close. All right. So you think how many items do y'all have? Like, is it around 10-ish? You have one? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. That's good. So I want you to look at your words, your list. And if there are anything that mean the same thing to you, cross them out and pick the one that is more meaningful to you. So if one was like like some people equate happiness and joy to be the same thing. So if you had two of the same, pick the one that resonates with you more. And cross out the other. Why are you giving a look? Okay. So when we've done that, what we're going to do now is we're going to flip our sheet over so we can't see it. I'm going to explain this. I don't want you to be looking at your sheet of your list. But when I say go, I'm going to give you a few minutes, but I want you to look at your words and number them on a like 1 to 10 or, 1 to 7 or however many that you have in order of importance. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to go through and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just put a number next to them. Whatever pops out to you first as you're reading. And this is going to be fast. So don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Okay. So ready? 1, 2, 3, flip it, start numbering. All right, done. Okay. So now I want you to take the 1, 2, and 3 and write them down. 1, 2, 3. Write them down next to your list. Good. So if you want to pop it in the chat, what were your top 3? So when you say water, what does that mean to you? Is that like it's needed like water? Or you need money to buy water? Okay. Hmm. Interesting. 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 So when any of our beliefs, our subconscious beliefs come out, these are typically going to be our first three values that we listed here. So, Mike, it makes sense that money is needed to buy water because water is an essential thing to keep you living, keep you safe. So your subconscious is telling you it's needed. Yes. When you have things like hell, control, dividing, there's a lot of negativity towards what money is. So that's going to be a belief there that this is not something I want to attract. This is not something I want in my life. So that's some of these things that we're going to be. Yes, I know. I see you're number 3. So these things are going to be some of the stories that are running in the back of our head around money. And it makes sense. So when your belief system is not around, money is wealth, money is abundant, or money is that I'm getting to do things that I want. There can be a contraction behind that if you're thinking that it's evil, and then when you get some. So yes, it goes back to that salt made and crushed empires. Yeah. So it goes back to that belief system that you grew up with. So it's just something to notice. And yes, your value system can change. When you rewire your beliefs, you release emotions behind it. So for the activity, that's all we're doing today. For the challenge, I want you to journal a little bit about where your money story came from as a child, where it came from the people around you. What were you told from your community that you lived in, and what your money story was when you started to make money, and what is it now? So think about some of these things, journal on it, notice, maybe journal on some of your values, some of the things that came up. What were the things that you thought should have been higher on the list and they weren't? Or should have been lower? So it's good awareness. It's good to notice. And then the other task is we're finding something that it deserves to live as dharma with someone else. Finding something that you can sell, even if it's for $1, to create that energetic flow. Okay. So we're going to end. I appreciate you guys, all of you, for being here. and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye, guys.